All right, let's get into this. This should be pretty darn good because it's a lot of game. Now, of course, we're unboxing this and it's past the Beyond the Monolith thing, which means that those updated PvP rules, those skirmish mode rules, did not come to fruition, which is kind of sad, but I'll still let you know what I think in my review. I'm so excited for it. As a personal fan of skirmish games, that was loud. This is still something highly desirable for me. This is a weird way to pack it, by the way. The mix between the two. Oh, that's kind of odd. These are very sad. Kind of an odd way to do it. And you know what? I kind of talked about this, I think, during the Kickstarter, where they had like the picking zone. And when you have something like the picking zone, you don't know how people are going to order different things, and so it makes it very hard, actually, to actually package this all together and make sure everybody gets the right stuff and all that. That being said, apparently they can do that, but Command can't even figure out how to sell their own warehouse stock. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that you're going through like Fun Again or Quartermaster Logistics or something like that versus Command, who again apparently struggle with that. But all right, so we have at least some boxes, which is kind of nice. So here's a box here. It's just Monolith B, all-in picking zone. Okay, so that's cool. If you went in the all-in, they actually had it a little bit easier, which is kind of nice. They have a whole bunch of like loose things by the looks of it. Here's another one. And here's maybe a game board. I forget. It's been so long. And here's an actual, look at that. Very cool. All right, we'll look at it more in a little bit. This one, very actiony. That's a cool version of Harley Quinn, too. You don't see that version too often. And we got Talia. And we got some more. All right. Oh, let's see. I think this is very, I don't even know. This is huge. We got whatever that is. And I think that is it. So, yes, this is for my cats now. Close it up so they don't start playing with it already. All right, let's go ahead and start digging into it. All right, I'm going to actually zoom in a little bit, and then we'll get into it after that. All right, let's see whatever the heck is in this, because I honestly don't know. I'm wondering if this is like the... I don't know. I honestly don't know. So I do have the 2-player versus expansion. So all I needed was the upgrade kit, which was kind of nice. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh, okay. This is well packaged. Look at that. Nice and yellow. This is a color I have not seen during an unboxing. All right. Let's see if this is going to... It's not. Woo! All right, I'm trying to cut myself here. All right. There we go. And in here, we have, I'm going to pull out each piece individually. That'll be kind of exciting. Some tokens for the Batman Thrasher suit. This is kind of cool that they added this, and I always love this. This symbol here is really cool. But I'm glad that they, gave you all the tokens to be able to use him. So that'll be kind of nice. Push that over here. And we have the Versus Mode Season 2. This is going to be good. I'm actually excited about that. Very odd finish to this. It's very shiny, as you can see, very shiny. And it has a slight texture to it. Kind of odd. I don't recall the first one being like this. Minimal scratches, so that's good. In the back, we have game board rules. This is the typical one that we saw before, where the maps are laid out. They have an online version, by the way, where you can like press something and it'll show you everywhere you can see and stuff like that. It's actually super cool. I have that on my phone anytime we play. That's actually quite nice. It looks like here we have the different missions and whatnot. So this is just, again, in case you weren't aware, versus mode does not mean pure skirmish. It's still just almost like the adventure mode. It's very, very similar, except you get to have more opportunity to pick your team on both sides. That's pretty much it. Oh, look at that. That is cool. I remember this is from, oh gosh, I can't think of it right now. It's towards the very beginning. Poison Ivy hired him up. You even see Catwoman up there. Gosh, I can't, Hush. This is from Hush. So that's cool that they had that art there. That was a very weird version of Killer Croc, in my opinion. It was a killer alligator, in my opinion, there. But anyway, very excited about this because I like that it's still missions with a little bit of story and objectives and stuff like that. I think a lot of people thought it was just pure skirmish with no adventure mode style objectives, and that's just not the case. And, okay, excited about this as well, only because I swear Monolith does the best cardboard and art on their tiles. It's always amazing. Let's open this up and see. This is huge, by the way. I don't recall them being that big, but it's been a little bit since I've played, so excuse that. Let's see here. Okay, so here's the first one. This is the Gotham City Police Department, if I'm not mistaken. So, and you even have like the a little perch there, and look at that. You can actually be up there. That's really cool. You can go all the way up there and be above everybody. So very cool here. Some very tactical scenarios there. A lot of police officers that are going to be in there. And then on the other side, and of course, super crisp line there. Look at that. That is like, I'm telling you, it's always great. Always really good. On the other side, let's see if I can do this. We have the slums of some kind, whatever this is. It looks like it's maybe below ground. It's hard to tell if you need to, though. It does have a bathtub and a toilet. I don't think either are working, but you can make something happen, I'm sure. Otherwise, again, I love the little hints of color that they have here, and very clear markings here are always nice. And then, of course, these, you end up using these letters quite easily, so C can C to C, and whatnot, and so you can kind of tell where everything can see, and the how many people can be in there, or at least the size of the people. So very cool. What I would expect from, it's almost kind of sad if this was in another game by another company. I'd be like, there's some scratches there. This was actually, I guess, kind of the problem. I'll finish that sentence first. So it's kind of sad because if this was in another board game, I'd be like, just going on and on about the cardboard quality and whatnot. But it's Monolith, so it's kind of what I expected. This scratching here, I don't know if you can necessarily see that, though, is partly because it was stored just loosely in here. Additionally, I don't know, so stuff was, moving around on it. Where I'm going to put this. Like, ideally, I'd have a box for it. I'll probably have to find a way to put it in the Season 1, one of the two boxes there. I'm sure I can. It's just, it almost would have been nice if they had thought, okay, it'll fit there, and we're going to have I would like a little leaflet to say, hey, put this in your Season 1 villains box, or, whatever. So here's versus mode. This is just the French version of it. Some people, if they, whatever language they don't need, they'll take out this and actually frame it or something like that, which would be kind of cool. I've seen people do that. So people use the art for even like dice like cubes on the bottom, which is kind of cool, but I'm not that crafty. And I think that is it in here. Yes, we are empty. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in there, and we'll move on. Maybe. There we are. All right. Moving on. Okay, so we have some options. We have Picking Zone. We have these expansions. I think I'm going to actually save these little expansions for last. I like them because they're themed, and I think that'll be kind of an interesting thing to go through them themed. I do have one more flat thing, so let's go ahead and look through that first, and then we'll just maybe do random Picking Zone. Maybe I'll alternate. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. I don't plan these things out. That should be fairly obvious. Same thing as last time. We're just getting an envelope here. All right. Go ahead and open this sucker up. I apparently want to be a little more violent here. Let's try doing that. See if that helps at all. It did. Helped a lot. And in here, we have Azrael, And Clayface, we got hero tokens for them because they weren't before. So this is kind of cool. This was a stretch goal, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, to be able to have the tile for Azrael. And then I don't actually know what the warning is here for the versus mode. And then for Clayface, the hero. And then, of course, we have another one of these. This is required, obviously, to be able to do your put your cubes wherever you need to, and put your little slot tray thing here. So I think, is that it? What else is in here? What do we got here? What is this? We got a few more cubes. Who doesn't need more cubes? I think I have a billion of those, but I'll take it. And we have, that's right. 5-player expansion. Look at that. This is not any. Okay. Haha, very funny. Let's try that again. 5-player expansion. And look at that. You got some blank pages there. That's fun. So again, you have a few that will allow you to have 5 players. So 4 versus 1, which is super cool. I'm glad that they have that. And it almost looks like you're just using core box stuff, which again is very good. Awesome. Love it. Oh, that's right. Okay, I see. I remember this now. So that's why Clayface was added. He'll be in here. Very cool. Very cool. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the small expansion of Season 1, where you were able to play as the bad guys. Kind of reminds me of that. I'm going to keep this a little organized. Again, I'm going to have to figure out, obviously I'm not going to keep it in this on my shelf, so I'll have to figure something out, but I think otherwise we're pretty good. All right, let's actually go ahead and go through some of these boxes. Now, I am actually, I've read Batman Inc., was not a huge fan. I think Batcow's cool and all that, but I don't know, it's just, I guess, a little, the art style, I think, is what really bothered me there. And the writing was a little weird. It wasn't my favorite Bat story. But that doesn't mean this won't be cool. I guess I just didn't care for, like, Batman in Japan and stuff like that. It was just, I don't know, just a little weird. I like Justice League and all that, but Batman Inc. was not my forte. But what happened to Damian there, I'm not even going to spoil it, I suppose, in case you haven't read Batman Inc., is very important to the Batman mythos. So, guess there is that. All right. I do like the size of these boxes. That's kind of nice. And again, the fact that you get foam in here, always impressive. All right. So here we have, come on. That's not going to last, apparently. El Gaucho, he was super strong. And then Chief Man of Bats. You can see why I may have struggled with this one. Then we got Raven Red. And then he played a very minor role in it. Same with Knight, I felt. He wasn't really there until towards the end of the Damian part that I read. Batman of Moscow, he's actually super cool. A really cool mini as well. He almost looks upside down. Night Runner. And then Dark Ranger. And then Batman of Japan, as I said. And actually a very cool color combination. It'd be fun to paint. I think El Gaucho actually would as well. And then, of course, you have the bio of all of them on the back, which is super fun for a nerd like me that likes to read stuff that I already know. All right, then we have the Versus Powers. This is nice. This is just a quick little, so I printed out a whole bunch for the Season 1. So it is nice to have this, where if you pick these characters, it's like, hey, look, this will explain what your stuff is right here. I like that. And then you have their tiles and various tokens and, whatever else that they need to use. Very cool. I like that. Black tray. Love black trays. You guys always know that. The reason I like black trays, actually, I'm going to point out one more thing. The reason I like black trays is because you can see the shape a lot easier. If this is clear, sometimes you kind of lose the shape, especially when the menu's not in there. The black inside here, my understanding is this only costs a tiny, tiny bit more, like pennies. Now, obviously, it's, cents per box, but it looks so nice. It really does. And of course, I'm gonna get I can already see glue on that tray, by the way. Get this out here, but the glue job is actually, it's all right. Like, it's nice and crisp right there, but there is quite a bit of a lip here. And then there's, I had this in the last one too. There's like these like fingerprint scuff marks or something like this. Like what is that there? Why is there like an X here? I don't know. I mean, it's fine. I'm obviously being nitpicky, but this is actually pretty good. But just a little bit of a lip there and a little bit of a lip there. This is probably the worst lip there. All right, nobody cares. Moving on to this. And let's see if I can't untape this in any kind of decent amount. The tray is quite thin, but it's not crinkly, which is kind of, oh my god, I can't get this crap. I hate tape. All right. Come on. Get the tape off. It'll be half the unboxing here, guys. All right. Now to get it off my fingers. All right, got it. Anyway, a few things to note here. It's not taped up there, is it? No. There we are. Okay. We have dimples in here so that these are not snap-ins, so that I can paint these freely and they'll show up great. And then I put that on there. It kind of locks in through here and then keeps the mini nice and flat without snapping in. It also has the little inlet here. This is what really locks it on, is it kind of pops into that. You can almost hear it. So that's kind of nice. And then, of course, a tray for your cards. Looks like not sleeved. Come on. Come on. All right. Artificer Gel, Adrenal Shot, Sharp Battering, Electronic Battering, Strengthened Armor. That's cool. I like that. A Tomahawk, Medicine Man's Bag, Raven's Red Bow. So you have all their different weapons. That's for the Batman of Japan. That's an actual person. It's a little weird. Again, it's not my favorite for sure. Especially because his story was kind of like he was chasing people on motorcycles. It was odd. Taser in Brass Knuckles, because of course you want Taser Brass Knuckles. That doesn't seem like that'd be a danger to you at all. And some of the minis. You know this is going to be last. All right, let's look at Knight here. Again, great pose. They seem to have improved the bases. If you recall, there was quite a few bent bases in Season 1. And here, I'm happy to say that this is rock solid. Just a tiny bit of sculpting right here, and otherwise flat. Kind of an interesting take. I like the broken glass kind of look here. It'd be very cool to paint it like that. It's a little difficult, but otherwise okay. Let me actually zoom in slightly so you can see me talk about it. Again, I'll be showing all these miniatures up close in 4K and very good lighting on a little turntable. You'll see it very nice at the end. Almost everything about this, I think, is actually spot on to what they wanted. The assembly, so this is two pieces, this piece and then this piece down here, and it's pretty good. There's a tiny bit, maybe it needed to be turned slightly, but just slightly. The seam is hidden by the cape, which is very smart, so it's, and then the belt kind of is supposed to pop out anyway, so that's, I think, very smart. His mouth and chin are a little lackluster. But otherwise, this is actually quite smooth. The fact that there's not a mold line here, very, very nice. Very crisp details here. Muscle definition is over the top in the way it should be in a comic book style board game. There is a mold line that's, a little bit below average, I would say, but it is definitely there. It's certainly not just gone. Very crisp lines here. This doesn't look weird at all that it's one piece here. That actually, they fit that very good with a nice crisp line. And again, not really a mold line here as well, which is quite impressive. And not over the front of his face, but on the side, which I can manage a lot easier. This is a really good mini. All right, Manobats here. Oh, it's a little silly. And I think these look silly too, but it'll be kind of interesting to paint him, I suppose. I think he was assembled a little bad though, because if you notice, his neck and head are slightly detached here, right in there. I don't know how well you can see that, but definitely a little odd there. I might need to pop this off and re-glue it. And see it's a little poking out a little bit here, so this should be slightly down. So not the best assembly there. The weapon here is ABS, and so it's nice and straight. That's very nice of them to do it. You can tell it's ABS because it's shiny. Do you see how shiny his tomahawk is? When it's shiny like that, that's that ABS. It's a very hard plastic, a very nice plastic, and it's just his hand. So this is a separate piece right here, which it makes sense that, first of all, it's smarter to cut it here because of his little kind of wrist thing, as opposed to here where he just has a small shirt. So they didn't do the whole arm, they just did the hand and the axe. I think that's quite smart. The fingers show up quite well, though there is a mold line across one, which is unfortunate, but all right. Gene creases look good, nice and deep. It'll show up a wash. And again, a slight texturing to the base. I would like more texturing on these bases. It's just shallow enough to take a wash or a suggestion of a wash. But if it was just a little bit deeper, that wash would get me all the way to where I need it to be. But I do like how straight the bases are. Okay, we got Red Robin here. And see this? Do you see the difference on the base between this and this? Do you see how one's more shallow than the other? That's what I'm talking about. This is great. That'll take a wash very well. To dry brush well, it'll look great. Again, assembly is very good. The details are incredible. The fact that they have like 12 packs, fit quite well. An ABS, again, weapon here, so that this doesn't bend. No string, that's okay. I wouldn't really expect it. He does have the arrows in the wrong place, but that fits the comic book. His leg here seems a little bent in a weird way to me, like sculpt-wise. That just seems like he broke his leg, but here it looks fine. So I don't know, it's just a little odd there. Otherwise, tiny little pore spout. Not really any mold lines to speak of that are super bad. One here, actually, is that a whole mold line? No, I think that's part of his pants. I'm going to assume it's part of his pants. Anyway, he looks good. His mouth and chin, by the way, look much better than Knight's, and his eye sockets are there too. Look good. Moving right along, this is a cool mini. I like it just because, again, it's super dynamic, and I love his helmet, and all of these details are nice and crisp. They're looking good. This is going to look great painted. I love the jetpack. Even these little tiny details, like these little wires and tubes, are good. A tiny bit of a gap from the assembly right here, but otherwise pretty good. Again, quite happy with it. And I do like to see the multi-piece. And look how dynamic this really is. I mean, if you think about it, this is really only 3 pieces, I believe. So it's just his arm and then his body. This might be assembled. I mean, again, actually, I think it is. But so it is right here, but it's very well done. How they hid this assembly right where that meets is perfect. And then obviously the base itself, and it's glued on there, but it's glued on very good. Very well done. Here is Batman of Japan, and I do really like the pose. It's very martial arts, right? Which I think fits, and it's just a very unique pose. I love how high of a kick that is. And of course, they textured the bottom of the boot. Makes sense with this pose, and it's always just good to see. What's also good to see is they textured this boot too. Do you see right there? Hopefully you can see that. So right here, you can see the little bit of a tread. Maybe I can really bring it up here and show you, because that's actually, look at that. Is that not cool? That even the bottom there has the tread on it. Awesome. Love it. That's really cool. Oh, Gaucho, come on, get out. Get out. Oh, all right, got him. All right, so he actually has a little bit of a wobble. See that right there? So I'll have to hot water that. It just looks like, for whatever reason, this is like popped up a little bit. You can kind of see how it's just, a little up. But great sculpt. The bottom of his boots just have a heel, but otherwise are not are flat, and that's fine. Head is a different sculpt, but it's assembled quite well. The knives are not ABS, and this one is slightly bent. You would have thought they would have put ABS on here. I'm not sure why they didn't, because this is probably skinnier than some of the stuff they've put ABS on. So not sure why that wasn't done, but that's all right. Either way, great dynamic sculpt, very good detail here on the beard and the eyes. Let me make sure that's in focus for you. There you go. Yeah. Oh, very, very good. I like it. All right. And then we got the really, really cool that they were able to do this just on a one little hand there. And he's actually quite, I mean, you can pick him up. He's fine. I'm actually pretty happy with that. Quite flat on the base. And it can just super dynamic. That makes sense. It's going to be really annoying to paint in there, right? I love the bat belt and the boots with all the straps. I think it's really cool. And last, but certainly not least, is Batman of Moscow. Just a very stoic, very cool miniature that'll be very hard to paint because you're painting on there. It's going to be super annoying, but it'll be worth it because that cape is pretty darn incredible. A little bit of a mold line here, but I mean, it's like I can see where the remnants of a mold line. Same with here. It's actually very well done. Very impressed with that. This is probably the worst offender right here, but otherwise I think it's still okay. The only other thing I don't like is how it's attached to his hand. But other than that, the bat suit looks good. Even the detail like in here is actually quite impressive. This is going to take a wash super well. The ridges on the mask are there, so that'll show up really well. Yeah, that's just a cool mini. All right, let's get into the next one. All right. Next up, I think I want to do the League of Assassins, and then after that, we'll go Suicide Squad and then the picking zone. So, again, same thing as kind of always. It just tells you what you get. You get 12 miniatures, 8 tiles. This is, just more of a style than anything. It doesn't really tell you a whole lot. Like, it doesn't tell you what minis or anything like that. It just says, hey, there's 12 of them in here. And it's like, okay, well, that's nice. Which is fine. They don't really have to. And I do very much appreciate, I didn't say this enough, how this is full art on all of them. All of them are like this. There's no symbol of Monolith or Batman anywhere to be seen on the front. So you can display these really nice. Instead, you get the name on the side there and on there. And even still, you don't see Monolith until you go to the back, and it's right here. In fact, it's almost less noticeable than DC and WB. Which is, I don't mind Monolith bragging about this at all. I think they should be proud of this IP. Certainly pretty much my favorite. But I mean, it takes a lot, right? Because who doesn't want to put their company symbol right on top of Batman, right? And so it's great that they didn't do that. All right. Taking this out, we have the 2 different rule books. Don't need that one. Move that to the side a little bit. And again, now it looks like on this one, you don't get necessarily the cheat sheet separate. Instead, you get it on the back, probably because it's not worth the whole different one. It's just a few. And honestly, if you can't remember these, it's probably, whatever. And then, of course, you get your missions. You get some art there. Very cool. And then a little bit about the campaign and what they're doing. That's actually pretty neat. I like seeing that. Get your tiles. I have not punched any out yet, so let's go ahead and punch them out, but I already know they're going to be great. Look at that. You see how perfect that is? How that just pops out. Now, there is a little bit of a tag on them, but it's a very kind of shiny, nice, crisp there. Very dense cardboard. I'm always very happy with the cardstock that they use on these. They're always just really good. Good quality. There's like no complaints I have, except perhaps a little bit of the tags, but that's very minimal. Anyway, you get, let's see, some Man Bat. You get some tiles for Man Bat. It looks like 2 different versions, which is kind of interesting. Lady Shiva, Talia, of course Ross, Assassins. And this is a more fighting Roz, and I know a lot of people, or a lot of backers were wanting a little bit more fighting one than the commanding one we got before, so we got that, which is good. We got the Heretic, probably the coolest designed thing out of the Batman Inc. comic. And just a very creepy revelation of what he is. So if you don't know who he is, I do suggest at least reading that one comic. You probably don't want to read the whole Batman Inc., I wouldn't think. At least I'm not the one recommending that. But the revelation of seeing him unmasked is pretty cool. Alright, again, you got the locking tray here. Pull it out. And we got some minis. Okay, alright, zoomed in a little bit differently. Hopefully it's a little bit brighter too, which would be kind of nice, I think. Make sure this is properly There we go. Okay, so here's Roz. He's got his hairy chest. He's ready to go. He's got his sword that is ABS. It is ABS. I can see how shiny it is. And they did his whole arm like that. You can see how more shiny his arm is. That's that ABS plastic. Very great detail from it. Minimal mold lines there. All of his fingers are actually good. Maybe slightly stubby, but that's all right. I'm not going to make fun of him too much for that. Very defined cheekbones and brow and chin. I think he even has a little dimple in his chin, perhaps. His hair is well sculpted. Muscles are good. It's always kind of interesting because he doesn't have a lot of leg muscles. In the front, I guess he does. I mean, good grief, my legs don't look like that, so what do I know? And good base. All right, then we got Lady Shiva. And again, super dynamic pose, which is cool that I like that she's way far back on the base. I think that's a cool idea. So, I mean, her center is still kind of the center of the base, so she's not toppling over or anything like that. But she starts way back here and then goes forward. Additionally, to make her structurally sound, this is ABS. Again, you can see how shiny it is compared. So that's just a little bit, you can see there's not actually a lot of give there. A tiny bit of assembly there, but not too bad. The thing is you can see how it should show up. I guess this is bent here, but either way, it should blend a little bit better. So you have to blend that a little bit. Otherwise, she has very tiny hands. And to the point where this one seems a little odd. So you see the hand here, right? And you see the hand here. I don't know what happened with her hand. I mean, I know it's curled. It just looks way smaller. It's in a fist, but it's a tiny, tiny fist compared to this hand. So she's got two different size hands. You can't really help that. It's actually kind of a big bummer. I don't know why this happens sometimes, these tiny hands. It's not the first mini I've seen it on, and it's just always a little weird. Great hair, though. I love the hair coming out here like that. That's cool. You can almost pick her up like that. But, man, that hand, kind of a disappointment on an otherwise cool mini in sculpt. Again, with the ABS on the scimitar here, and it's her whole arm that goes into the socket here is all ABS, which is nice. Again, starting in the back here, you're kind of seeing some, a trend there when it comes to poses. Very high leg up like that. I don't know what kind of pose that is per se. And then, of course, a very interesting textured with these hard crease lines on her robe thing, and then of course the interesting sleeves too. Very cool design. High neck fin collar things. Well, I don't know what you call them. Her face is sculpted, and it's quite well sculpted, though I think it looks a little weird to me. It almost looks like she may have too big of a forehead. But maybe when you painted it, it'll be all right. Or her cheeks are a little big, or I don't know, something about it just seems kind of funny to me. However, she does totally have a face, which is kind of nice. And of course the hair looks good as well. All right, we're gonna look at the Heretic next. Again, this will look amazing painted with all the fire and stuff like that. You could turn his arm would be on fire, and he could hit you with it. And he's got this really cool kind of mask with this laurel around it, and kind of Batman askew. I always felt like this reminded me a little bit of Bane from the movie a little bit. His kind of trench coat. But otherwise, his wrappings are also really cool. Just a cool character. A lot of interesting things going on here. And again, this is well done. He's taking up pretty much the whole base there, which is kind of nice. Okay, you got some assassins with some what look like kind of weird laser gun things going on here. They have a very cool, again with the textures here. This will look great in a wash. Very great kind of turban looking thing here with the wrap, and you can actually see the eyes deep in there. Good luck painting that, but that's totally there. Very impressed with this, actually. That's very well done. I never noticed the canisters on there, actually. So that's also just adds a little bit of visual diversity. And then this version, and this is, I think, the only other sculpt. Again, great padded armor here. I think that looks good. The mold line's a little unfortunate here. And it looks like it kind of goes to the top of the head a little bit here in a weird way. The base, though, this is one of my favorite bases because I think it looks cool and shows up cool once painted. All right, that's that one. On to the next one. And finally, Suicide Squad. Look at the blood on that mallet. That's hardcore. Again, this is not a costume you typically see. And he looks like he's dancing. I don't know why, but to me, it looks like he's dancing. I love the smoke. This is probably the cooler art scene as far as I'm concerned. Maybe just because it's the most action-y. I'm just a simple guy, so if there's an action scene, I'm pretty happy. Alright. Let's open her up and see what we got. Hey, at least these are opening up well. That's good. Okay, you should be expecting the same normal stuff, all black inside. And then you get one you don't need, one you do need, depending on which one. Maybe you're multilingual and know them both. Okay, so this is a full sheet, but we still didn't get a tray. That's interesting. I don't know why you would do that. Like, if it's a full sheet, give us a full sheet. It's weird you would just do it with one. I mean, again, it's whatever, but it would have been nice. Though I suppose you have this out anyway, but it'd be, so you have this and then you flip back over, I guess. Either way, again, I always like seeing this. I think it's great that you get this kind of, blurb up front, and you get this, the whole campaign, and, the different rules for this campaign versus other ones. And, again, just very, very cool themes, and should match, so this will be a Suicide Squad one, and the other one would have been, a League of Assassins based one, and so it's just nice. All right, let's go ahead, tear that open. There's a lot here. Okay, so we got Killer Croc, we got Harley Quinn, and again, look, they're even a different color. They're not blue. You got Deadshot, you got Captain Boomerang. What a silly name. Deathstroke, always awesome. You got Poison Ivy. You'll notice these are that's the same miniature you would already have. You got El Diablo, you got Black Manta, Duella Dint. That's interesting that they would put that name there, instead of like Joker's daughter or anything like that. King Shark, everybody loves King Shark. He sings songs. Rick Flag, Amanda Waller, and then the Bronze Tiger. That'll be really cool. I like that they're going into kind of the weird part of Batman. One of the things I like about Batman so much is that it can be very serious and very gritty, and it can be very silly all at the same time. Here's Bronze Tiger there, as you can see. Just kind of silly. That being said, he's great at martial arts. Of course he is. All right, well, we know that those are going to be high quality. Let's go ahead and look here. Here we actually get some cards. And it's your normal, combat boomerang, electronic boomerang, the Smasher, wrist gun, long sniper rifle, assault rifle, the Deathstroke, infantry automatic rifle, fighting blade, acid gun, carnivorous seeds, just the typical scimitar and laser helmet. You know how it is. Let's look at the minis. And again, I'm always impressed with the just the quality of the sculpts that we get here. For just kind of a board game with a lot of minis with an IP. They could have skimped out a lot. I think a lot of board game companies, when they get a nice IP, skimp out a lot. So I'm happy they did. I cannot get this off of me. All right. And let's dig into it. Now the question is what to look at first. Let's look at blue, and then we'll go from there. I'll start with Rick Flag here. Again, no ABS on him, but it looks like everything ended up okay, except a slightly bent pistol. I'll have to straighten that out. Otherwise, and notice I've only seen one bent base that was noticeable to me, which is pretty good. It's that broken glass one here. So very standard here, and then some broken glass here. But maybe put some texture there. I don't know. Because this is so thin, if you put too much texture, it might show up. It'd be kind of interesting to see what people do with that. Maybe it's a street or something like that, and this is asphalt. Anyway, the mold line does go up here, but it looks like it's fairly well managed. There's a little bit, you see it catch a little bit. And the problem is on those ribs, it's very hard to get rid of. Very hard. This is a separate piece here. And so, he just had the one, and then because this is coming out more, this is a separate piece right here. But that is fine. The head, the face actually has some great detail. You can see his expression, which I really like, and I like his stylized hair. Could maybe use a bit more texture, a little bit deeper texture. It's very kind of soft, but for hair, that'll actually work out okay. All right, moving on. We have Amanda, and you know, she looks awesome with her teeny tiny little gun. That being said, this gun looks like it has almost no detail at all. Let me see the art on her, because that's kind of weird, actually. Let's see. What do we got here? Okay, so that's why the gun itself doesn't really have a lot of detail either. So, is what it is. It's like some sci-fi gun. It still, I think, looks a little odd. Additionally, I think her hand here, I don't know, it seems to almost blend into it. Do you see that? Oh, it just kind of, I don't know. Just doesn't, I'm not super happy with how that looks. Like, this side is good. This side, you can see the different shapes at least. This side looks to be just one solid piece. Love the hair. The hair texture turned out great. The assembly job is actually good as always. I haven't seen any real bad ones per se. There was one I'll need to redo, but otherwise we're pretty good there. Good definition on her feet. Her shoes are different there. Kneecaps, facial features are great. She even has ears and earrings and a pearl necklace. Very cool. We got a tiger. I mean, there's not much to say here except that's awesome. This is ABS here. So this whole back part is ABS. Great texture here. Tons of muscle and some fur. And he's got claws. His hands look like they're good and in the same size. That's a plus. That's not always the case, it seems. It's always hard to tell if this is a mold line or if it's part of the design. This is part of the design, but the look, well, I mean, maybe. This is the only part I think I don't like about the miniature, and that's this, again, you can't really have negative space here, and so they just kind of filled it in here, and it's kind of unfortunate because his leg doesn't go this far out, so this whole part is not needed. That's, I guess, a big, I mean, I'll paint it as like hair, maybe try and get it some texture like it's fluffing out, perhaps, but otherwise it's kind of a bummer. Additionally, I will notice that there's texture here on the tail, and then there's nothing here. It's completely 100% smooth right here. There is zero texture here. Do you see that? It's nothing. No texture at all. Texture. And then again, no texture towards the end. So this whole tail, in my opinion, is not good. But otherwise pretty okay. All right. Deadshot. He has a very long gun. It is ABS, I would imagine, maybe. Yes, so this part right here is ABS. This is PVC, and you can tell it's already actually slightly kind of warped. Even just this little bit here. See how it's kind of bent? And then I think I might actually just try and glue it like that. The problem is the hot water treatment does not work well on ABS. It's much harder to do just because it's so much harder. It doesn't bend as much. So I might actually try and, push this out a little bit or something like that. But as it is right now, he can get a nice angled shot going on there. All the detail otherwise on him looks good. Great kind of rib texture here. I like the basing he has. I like that it's overhanging a little bit too. So see this overhangs. That's always cool as well. And even has some bullets casings down here, which is cool. The only weird thing is I'm not sure if he's supposed to be on a building, then this texture doesn't make a lot of sense on the base. That's probably the only thing. I always imagined him at the top of a building and not right above the ground. So that's a little odd. I'm not really sure exactly what to do about that. I'll have to give it some thought. Okay, we got Deathstroke. He's got this sweet kind of scythe blade here that doesn't look like it's sharp at all. That's, again, a little odd. I might actually trim that a little bit so it doesn't just look like I don't know. It just doesn't look like really anything. Additionally, the blade is not really separate from the handle. It just looks all like one piece to me. Maybe it is. I'll have to reference art. This texture is great. Really good texture there. The gun, there's a tiny bit of negative space fill here, but I think that'll actually work out okay. That being said, it looks much better here. Do you see how it's defined better here? Kind of sad that's on the bottom, and then on the top, it gets a little kind of iffy right here, a little kind of soft. And again, his gun is slightly bent. It should kind of be down a little bit. I'll have to unbend that. Kind of unfortunate, but is what it is, I guess. Otherwise, I think he's looking really, really good. I'm pretty happy with him. All right. Captain Boomerang, he's silly. That being said, I think painting him would actually be kind of fun just because he's got his beanie and then a suit, and that's just an abnormal combination, I feel. I'm not going to say too much about him, though, because he's boring. All right. Then you got Joker's daughter here. The lettering here definitely showed up, which is actually quite impressive. The top more than the bottom, though. However, this still looks good. I love that she's actually off the base on both and that she has textured bottoms of her boots. I always love seeing the tread on these miniatures. For whatever reason, I get a big kick out of that. Just a cool pose. I like how her arm's up there and she's wearing the mask and has the crazy hair. I like that it's unkempt. There's a few loose strands. That's a nice touch. Yeah, very cool. Good assembly right here. I think that's actually quite good. Pretty darn happy with that mini. That came out good. El Diablo, again, he's going to look amazing. They did sculpt the design on here, so it'll be a little bit easier to paint. So that's kind of nice. I appreciate that. Otherwise, great muscle definition, great wrinkles on the clothes. His hand coming out of the fire looked good. This is just very well done. I'm very happy with this, and he would look amazing painted, I feel. Last, and certainly not least, we got King Shark. And again, he's hilarious in the... and he can just be very violent and very silly. He can sing, the map song from Dora the Explorer in some panels, even quite hilarious. Love the teeth. Teeth showed up good. Eyes are nice and sculpted. They showed up really good. Gills are good. The kind of texture on here is good. And what you'd expect, the webbing looks good. Muscles. All of this is great. This is actually a really good mini. I like this one. A little bit of a mold line here. Kind of unfortunate. That'll take some trimming. But this should trim up pretty okay, except for in these creases. It'll be a little difficult. But otherwise, I think he looks quite cool. All right, let's get into the picking zone. Let's start with carton 1 of 2. So it's nice that they were able to ship it like this, but I still don't know what I'm going to do storage-wise with all these spare minis. That is kind of the hard part, is just this, the general storage. I'm a big fan of consumer storage provided by the developer. That way I don't have to pay a third party, and I can get it all at once, and it's not an exorbitant price because a lot more people will get it when it's provided with the game as opposed to secondhand where they have to design it and then make it after the fact, and people aren't going to be searching that long and whatnot. All right, so we got a few trays here. I'm not going to look at these, but these are just the different... well, you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead. We'll just take a quick look, just so we can talk about the characters real quick. Come on. Come on. Very good plastic here. This is nice and shiny and thick and through the little holes, so it's not inflated with air. Just nice in general. So we have the James Gordon Batman. Then we have the Batman Beyond. Everybody was asking for Batman Beyond, so I was glad they were able to do that. Batman Rebirth, a very cool mini. Can't wait to see him. And then Hawkfire, which is something a lot of people had to go look up, I think. All right, and then as you can see, there's a whole bunch of minis in here. So okay, actually, you know what? I wonder... I'd like to, again, look at the cards first before we get into that. So let's go ahead and open this real quick. This is carton 2, and see if there's more character cards in here for you guys to look at. Just so, if we're looking at the Robin people that, you guys have seen it and have some context. Because not everybody's, I know I haven't read them all. They were doing some deep dives in these. I like Batman comics as much as the next nerd, but some of these were... pretty impressive. And it looks like there's a whole bunch more minis, so we'll go look forward to that. Okay, let's start with this one. With the gang of Robin here. And, okay, no, so they come with their character tiles in the box. That explains it, because they're just going to have tiles. They're just like a troop unit kind of thing, right? So they're not going to have like this style of one. And let's see how I can open this. It is nice that they come in a box. I will give them that. Though, again, I think a full box, even just to put all these boxes in, would be nice. I might just keep these, but these are super ugly. And I can't have ugly on my shelf. Not when the rest of Batman, you know, looks so good with the art there. And I hate these style of boxes. Like, I hate them with a passion. You can see why. You cannot open them up nicely. Like, look at that. That's just sad. It bothers me to no end. And it's going to get worse the more I open it up. Okay, so there's their tiles. You can see Gangs of Robin. The different colors, which is kind of interesting. Again, I think it's to differentiate between the two, so you can have two different groups, essentially. And you could paint them like that, too, which would be kind of nice. Hopefully... they do have tape. Gross. All right, here's one. And here's two. Still snap on there. I do like that. It's a great addition. Flat, so there's no dimples on these. I'll see if they're all like that. Looks like good bases. Nice and textured there, which I like. Great pose. There is quite a mold spot and seam there. I wonder if they all have that. Looks like, I mean, yeah, they would probably all have that. So it looks like they all have that. They are numbered. I didn't notice if the other ones had numbers. Anyway, you can see where the post is there to keep him kind of nice and secure. He's actually very secure on there. Good texture. The R shows up great on both the hat and the chest. His mouth open, his cheekbones, his nostrils on his nose, all that's really good. His hands seem to be the same size, which does seem a little different than maybe some of the other ones. A little bit of a mold line there. This is probably the worst part here, but otherwise I'm actually quite happy with them. We'll have to trim up that mold line as well. You can see, again, how this is a separate piece. This is ABS. You can see the slight seam right there. So that's why he's so secure on there. But you get 4 of those, same sculpt. They look cool. Keep on moving on. Again, I hate this style of box. Like, I would prefer a normal, maybe it goes this way, a normal kind of lid box any day of the week by far. I don't know how much cheaper these are, but I hate them. Nice that you can display them though a little bit. I mean, that's kind of cool. All right, there's going to be a bunch of these. That being said, Trigon. This was one I actually didn't recognize from my reading material. I do not have a comic with him in there that I've noticed. I mean, half the time these things are like in the background. You just never even see them in the art. Though I think I would have noticed this guy. Trigon the Demon. He looks super cool. And again, this is, again, the picking zone. So it's the same size as this, but you just get the one mini. He's a little bit bigger, though, I suppose. And again, this is going to ruin this. It's not going to open cleanly. See, as you can see, it's just not going to happen. God forbid. Look at the color on that guy, though. Look at that. What a weird coloration. I mean, that is just... He looks like he's like some fish version of a Namekian from Dragon Ball Z or some weird junk. All right. Any tape? No tape on him. Interesting. Giving up on tape. I'm happy for that. See, again, no number on these, so that's kind of interesting. But look how awesome he looks. Look at that. He looks cool. A little bit of a mold or pore spout there. Great facial features there. He's got his eyebrow ridges furrowed. He's got his like gritted teeth and lips and chin. His throat even looks good. All of these bajillion muscles that he has looks good. Belt looks cool. His hands look good. This is just, I mean, look at that cape. That's gonna look so awesome painted. I like him a lot. He's cool. For a character I didn't know, I like him. All right, see, that was a little bit quicker. That was kind of nice. In fact, I might even not bother really putting these up super well, but that actually went not too bad. So maybe I'll try and stay organized. No, because see, now that this is best, I freaking hate these. I hate these. Don't ever, if I can ever help it, I'll never get another box like this again. I cannot stand these. Like, they just irk me. I just don't like them. Got some Hounds. Got some Hounds. That's right. See, I keep trying to start it there like it's a regular box, but no. No, it's not a regular box, is it? In case you didn't know, obviously gray is bad, blue is good. That's from season 1. Come on. Ruin the box. Hey, that actually opened up pretty good. Now look at that. 1 out of 3. It'll be a worse ratio than that, I guarantee it. The Hounds, by the way, first of all, they look freakish with their teeth. Oh man, see, now they got tape again. Anytime they have 4, maybe they'll have tape. I don't know. They don't really have, like, fur. They're like, I don't know. They're weird. Easier to paint, though, right? Here they are. Big base on them, which is actually kind of impressive. And again, a number. They have a number on these multiple ones. Kind of interesting. A very cool pose. I like the arms on here. Though, again, these arms seem super long. Like, I don't know. They just seem weird. I'm sure they're from a comic. And look at this. They even have abs. They have abs back here. I don't know if you see that or not. So they have abs underneath there. Yeah, it's weird. I do like the little tail, though. That being said, I mean, good pose. There's no texture on the top of the mouth, but the bottom does have this really nicely sculpted tongue. Moving on. We'll get through this. See, this actually will go pretty quick. I was worried with the pickings on this would take like forever, but it seems to go at a pretty good pace. All right. Next up, we have the Professor Pig's gang. This is fun. One of my favorite ones. I forget the story. I want to say it was Hush, because he just played a super minor role where he was almost like, I think he was a distraction. And it was just like 3 pages of Professor Pig. Like just 3 pages of panels. Again, this is already bent a little bit. Hate these boxes. But you do get Professor Gang where you have the helmets on, which is funny. And this one has no tape, but 4 people. So, oh wait, nope, the tape's just in a different location. All right, there we go. And there we go. All right. These are great. I love it. Not ABS. That being said, this is thick enough to where it's not bent at all, which is nice. And the stitching here is actually super impressive. It gets pretty deep in the recesses there, so it'll take a wash really, really well. The buttons and the strain on the buttons is good. I love the little kind of feet that are showing up here on the sandals. That's great. This is, I think, my least favorite just because it's creepy looking. So he's got his like hand backwards here, but just the long neck and super skinny face kind of freaked me out a little bit. But great texture on here. And again, I'm not really noticing any mold lines that stand out or anything like that. This is bent with the arm. It's kind of odd. I don't know. It looks weird to me that it's bent like that, but that's how it is. But otherwise, the texture's good. The eye sculpt there is great. Got a little bit of mouth. You got the fur. And good there. Obviously, the turkey guy holding up his hammer is fantastic. It's actually nice and straight as well. A little bit of a pore spout there. But otherwise, that's looking good. And then, of course, you have this guy. A little bit of fuzz on there. And again, I think the detail work up here is fantastic. This line is maybe a little exaggerated for me. That seems excessive. If you have this on your back, you got a problem. Do you see how... I mean, look at that. I mean, I'm all for the line there. And again, these muscles are pretty exaggerated too. But that line, my goodness. That's impressive. Love the shorts over the pants. I don't know why. It's just kind of a weird thing, but I like that. All right. Put that back in. I'm not going to bother closing these each time. Last of these, and then we have the 2 big ones. This is all one sculpt. The Ghost Dragons. It's funny, so I like Mythic Battles Pantheon. I think it's a pretty fun skirmish game. I like to own Thalos, and I never say that word right, but you know, the little gems you can get. What I love is just like a card game is instead of deck building, you're like troop building or, essentially your army building. And I really appreciate that. I do not appreciate these boxes. With these many options, I mean, that's impressive. There's so many here. There's the Ghost Dragons. You kind of see the coloration they'll have. Kind of boring, but then a very cool mask. And I actually kind of like that. It'll mean when you paint them that the mask will just pop out a ton, which I think is kind of cool. I think so, anyway. A lot of times people do that on purpose. They'll like shadow the other, like the rest of the body, and just have the face kind of highlighted more. I never do that. It's a lot of work to think that far ahead. This will look amazing too. It is ABS. This entire arm up to the elbow is ABS, and it'll look great. Like fantastic. The mask, again, great detail there. I love the scratch marks here. Great detail everywhere. Cool pose. I love how his body's twisted a little bit, how this is twisting with it, how his arm is thrown back, like he's swinging it back to move this forward. It's raised up a little bit, like it's going to slash down at an angle. Very cool pose. I like this one a lot. A little boring on the back, perhaps, but that's okay. Seriously, those are cool. I like those. And again, do they have a number? See, now these don't have a number. I don't know how they decided which ones have a number, which ones don't, or what the number even means. Beats me. All right, let's look at the two big ones in here, and then we're on to the next box. So we got two bad guys, good guys. Let's go bad guys first, I guess. Poison Ivy. So you got Poison Ivy in her, I believe this is how she was in Hush, if I'm not mistaken. I know I've read the comic where she was in there, and I think it was Hush. And then these carnivorous plants look really cool too. They'll look cool painted. It'll just be fun to paint them because they're so much different than the rest of the stuff you're painting for this game. Which, by the way, I have a few more Batman miniature painting videos I've recorded, and so they're all filmed and just not edited. So let me know if you're interested in that. Okay, so here, look at this. We have this like permanent card, which is kind of interesting, and then the two tiles. And look how awesome she'll look painted. She's got their bright red hair, of course, the kind of orange red. Then you have this black suit with this green on it. Very, very cool. Really like the design there. I think it's it just screams comic book to me, right? It's a very the color palette choice I think is really smart. You don't often see the black green like that, and then of course paired with her hair, and then the red and the green complementing each other so well. I think that'll just look really cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at her real quick. Again, I think this is a very cool pose just because it has a lot of basing and stuff going on here. They definitely showed some special attention to some of these miniatures over others, because some of them go above and beyond. I mean, look at this. Just the basing in here is super, super cool. Hands look good, by the way. I'm happy about that. Maybe the pinky gets a little small here, but that's all right. Facial features are fantastic. The neck is fantastic. The hair is perfect. The like weird kind of scales that you get is also great. Very cool. Very, very cool. This is, I think, my favorite pack. If you didn't get this one, I almost feel kind of sorry for you because these turned out good. A bit of a bulge there. Hopefully that, I wonder if that's touching. So it's not here. Let's see. Yeah, I think it is. So if you notice here, do you see a little bit of a bulge here? And it's actually enough to where it's touching in the middle a little bit versus this one. However, we're going to look here anyway, and I love the kind of dirt crack that we have going on here. And just look at all this. Now, this is kind of like Scarecrow. If you watched me paint Scarecrow, you know what I'm talking about here. It'll wash really good, but highlighting this by hand would be ridiculous. I might actually suggest dry brushing. As much as doing it by hand would look amazing. I love the leaves on here, the vines, the different kind of leaves here. This is just done so well. All the textures inside, very, very, very cool. I like that a lot. Looks cool. A little bit of glue here, and it might actually be covering up some detail, which is kind of unfortunate, but otherwise okay. Love how these are closed and this one's open. Just a cool pack. Those are neat. I like those a lot. Those are cool. All right, so let's hope. And again, it's been so long since I've, you know, these always take a while. And sometimes I refresh, you know, what it is I'm getting, and sometimes I don't. I don't remember what this other package might be, so we'll have to take a look. But there we go. There's that. The last one of this box. Look at that. That box empty. And we have Batman and Rookie. Oh, okay, it's the robot. So this is the Commissioner Gordon Batman, and then his kind of trusty sidekick, the robot. Those in the, it's a little bit of future tech, but not like Batman Beyond or anything like that. Essentially, Gordon becomes Batman, and he gets this cool little robot. And the robot is actually pretty cool. And again, it's one of those things where it's a different side of Batman. The kind of a little bit more goofy side and more comic booky side. Now this is unfortunate, mainly because I'm worried about the bend here. You see what happened here? All right, I'm actually gonna open this up. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see how bent this is. Man, so I mean, this card is bent. That being said, the card's actually pretty good quality. I didn't unbox it or anything, but it's actually quite firm. These tiles actually look like they might have. Now, see, that is impressive. That the whole thing is like this. I mean, that's this thing, and yet these rock solid. I'm telling you, their cardboard is great. It's just great. Put them side by side. See if there's a bend. There's not. Look at that. Perfect. Impressed. Color me impressed. That is more than I could have asked for. That's not bad at all. Let's take a look at these minis. Very cool. And of course, tape. Bane of my existence. We'll get this. We'll get it. Yeah, right. I have so much tape on the side of my table right now. Alright, here's Batman. He's got a little batarang here. It needs to be cleaned up a little bit, but the batarang is shaped. It's actually pretty impressive. He's as skinny as he should be, especially with the art style that this comic was drawn in. I know the comic, though I have not read it. I tend to go towards the gritty ones and less of the kind of fantastical, you know, fun ones, I guess you could say. But I do know the art style, and that's actually pretty cool. He even looks a little old in here. That's hilarious. And he's got his, you know, newfangled little, you know, gun launcher, the grappling hook thing. And again, base actually here I think is really cool. Maybe a little shallow here. Yeah, just more shallow than I'd like actually in general, but it'll do. Yeah, she's pretty shallow. But again, you got the skinny, but you look at the missile launcher holes here are good. The bat symbol looks great. It looks like everything came out good. The texture on the fingers are cool. On the back, you have like these blade things that look kind of neat, and the little jetpack thing. These ridges are really good. This is actually a cool mini. I really like the mini here, even if I haven't read the comic. It might actually make me read the comic, because that just looks fun. And again, it's a little unique, right? It'll stand out, I think, a lot. And if you notice, the art on it is purple, which is, again, exciting. All right. One more box to go, guys. One more box to go. This has been fun seeing all this, though. I'm glad I got this. It'll take a while to read all my options to like start building teams and stuff now, that's for sure. Get in there. All right. Oh, nope. Hold on. Ruin that. Tokens. There we go. And for now, I'm just going to drop those in there like a heathen. Boop. There we go. Next box. Has a few in there. I think what I'm going to do is take them all out and then grab them. So I'm going to take them out. I'm not going to look at them yet, though. I'm just taking them out here for now. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Yeah, again, I actually would have, I mean, I don't know. The picking zone's whatever. I would have probably preferred just to get a big old box of minis myself. I would have been fine with that. But as you can see, I got everything anyway. So for people that just wanted a few, this was good. But I don't know, first of all, they spent enough money to make it worth catering to them. And second of all, how many of them actually did that? Like how many people, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the stats. I'd be interested to see how many people went all in, how many people didn't, how many people were close to an all in. Would their price have been the same and then you would have thrown in a few more? Because again, if you're making the sculpt, you're making the sculpt, and then the benefit comes from mass producing them because it costs almost nothing to print these. You're just paying for the plastic, right? Which is super easy. Barely any convenience. Now, that's a different channel. So ideally, you print as many as you can. And then people would have maybe had to pay for some minis that they didn't care about, but they wouldn't have viewed it like that, I don't think. And in fact, because the prices per mini would have been cheaper, it may have been about the same. I don't know. It's Monolith. They're experimenting and trying to do different things, as always. Alright, so here, again, you're getting these cards, which is kind of cool. You get quite a few cards here. I don't know what all this is. Take a look into here. See what's going on there. What's going on here? Why do you have so many cards? Okay, so you got some bystanders here and then a card. Okay, so you get another bystander. Oh, controlled by. Okay, I know what's going on here. All right. Yeah, so this was like a priest kind of dude that had all these homeless people that were like, he was controlling them. It was actually kind of interesting. I think he may have actually been in one of the Arkham games as well, the video games. Actually a pretty interesting pose. I think this, I think this hand turned out very good. He's got a palm and everything. This hand seems a little bit weirder, especially with the fingers. Very lackluster finger detail here. Whereas here it's actually quite good. It's kind of weird that it would, be two different ones there. But, he's what you would expect. I do like the differences in the bases, though. Those are kind of cool. And again, the controlled bystanders should be kind of interesting, too. That must be one of his permanent abilities here. Veneration. Must be veneration. All right, let's see if I can shove this in there. I can. Perfect. Next, we have the Great White Shark. He looks cooler painted, I imagine, than not, just because he's got like that kind of white face, which is kind of cool. And I want to say several people were like asking for him, which I thought was kind of weird. People have their like favorites, and they're always like these really obscure characters that just don't make as big of an appearance. And again, they are diving deep here. That being said, his face actually looks kind of cool. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Red Skull, like sculpt wise. But otherwise, again, great body pose. Almost no mold lines. You could pretty much prime and paint this guy, which is nice. And again, you're getting kind of a few different things here. They keep coming with these cards here. I'll have to read up on that. I think that's kind of cool. All right. Next up, Talon. Oh, see, that's fun. The Uriah Boone one. So we'll go open this one up. I really liked Court of Owls. I know some people are like, oh my gosh, Court of Owls, but I was like, oh my gosh, Court of Owls. It's all about the inflection, I think. But it was just a very good introduction to Snyder's Batman that I really liked. And I thought, again, the stakes were good, and I liked the whole, running for mayor kind of thing, the side story that was there. These chains are ABS, and they are fantastic. This whole weapon is ABS. This is great. There's a little bit of a poor spot here you'll have to probably cut and fill out. Same with here. It's unfortunate there's two. The detail here, though, is good. The little blades coming out are cool. I like that the hands are flipped. And again, this ABS here is exquisite. It looks really, really good. and you get that kind of skinnier plastic too. I mean, this is actually kind of sharp. I like this one a lot, actually. I like the little blades here. Very, very cool. Almost a little bit of a weird mold line around the edge of the base, but that chain looks great. All right, move on to next one, which is a hero. We got Batman Rebirth. This is a cool one. This was probably my favorite miniature in the whole zone that they were offering. So if I was to just pick one, it probably would have been this one. I'm purposely not flipping it over yet, just in case for some reason you haven't seen it. But it's cool. I like it a lot. All right, let's go and open it up, maybe. How do you open it up? Not from the bottom. That'd be silly. I think I'm gonna have to. Wait. Aha, from the side. Interesting. And break the box. There we go. All right, look at that. That's fun. Come on. All right, and this one. All right. Bam, look at that. That is just cool. So you got a little bit of like a rock formation here, and this is on ABS, just to give him a little bit more on the base, so it's a little bit more firm there. That being said, this is not attached, which I'm actually surprised. I'll probably end up gluing it just for funsies, but I don't know if you really need to. He's almost a little top heavy. But he tends to stand pretty good. These are, it's just cool. Look at that. A little bit of a trimming here, though not too bad. A little bit of a mold spot there. Look at that. There's even some space behind him here, which I don't know if that's supposed to be filled in or what. I might glue that in. Face is good. Obviously, the bat symbol looks good. The cowl looks good. The knee pads are cool. This is the assembly part here, and it looks decent. A little bit of a poor spout there, and of course he's grabbing it, and it's curled in there. That being said, this one is connected, this one is not, and it probably should be. So that should be maybe a little bit higher up. I'll have to glue that. Do you see the little bit of a nub here that should be attached? It's not. Still, great sculpt. Excited about that one. I just need a little bit of TLC, but that's a cool one. I like that one a lot. Honestly, I like that one a lot more than some Night model Batman miniatures, and that's saying something because they're way more expensive. All right, next up we have Carmine Falcone mobster family. I believe they were. Was it Falcone in Gotham? I can't remember. Been a long time. Come on. There we go. This was, I think, one of the very first miniatures they showed. And I don't know why they chose him to show him first, but I do like that his hands are in his pockets and he looks completely casual. I think that fits his character a lot, and I think it's also just kind of unique. You even see where his hands are in his pockets, which is pretty cool. You just don't see a lot of minis in that pose. These creases between the arms and the body look great, by the way, considering it's all one piece. Nice and crisp details there. Great facial features. You get cheekbones, jawline, ear, hair, nose, eyebrows, everything. Very well done miniature there. For something that looks so unassuming, it's actually pretty darn good. And again, I think that actually fits this character. Next up, we have Catwoman from Batman Hush. This is actually kind of funny. So they had teased and shown this sculpt before the first campaign even came out. And then I forget if they opted out because they didn't want her crouching, or if we just didn't unlock it. I can't remember which one. I think it was almost a combination. That's why she wasn't one of the first stretch goals. Like, I bet if they would have kept funding, they would have probably thrown it in. But either way, she's part of this one. And again, another unique pose for miniature. You don't get a lot of crouching minis like this, so that's actually quite cool. She actually has a basic design in Hush, but she has the collar with a little dangly thing there that she has. I don't know what you would call that, but it'll kind of stand out. And then those big old goggles. These are sculpted actually quite well. Her face mask is as well. Simply seems to be good. A little bit of a mold line, but not too bad. The boots that she has tend to go pretty good. A little bit of a mold line there. And then again, you have the kind of belt buckle there and then the gloves. These fingers seem extra long, and it's not glued on either. So these look pretty good. These look a little long to me, but that's all right. Either way, after painting, I'll probably glue them down. I might glue them down before. Just keep it a little bit more secure, but very cool pose. I'm glad we did eventually get her. Put her back in her case, and we'll move on to the next one. Get in there, come on. Don't be like that. There we are. All right, I think we're almost halfway done with this box. It's going pretty quick. The Reaper. Again, another one I feel like was shown early. Either early in Season 2 or before even Season 1. I can't really tell you which. I just know that we saw him fairly early. I think it was before Season 2. I think it was like leading up to Season 2 they showed him off a little early. Actually, if I want to say painted versions of him showed up, I think that's what it was, after Season 1. So, again, he's got these really cool kind of sickle blades, and he's got this really cool kind of skull-like mask, and then this cowl, and these, look at, do you hear that? That is crisp. That is awesome. He will take a, I love the holes in the cape. He will take a wash really good. This chain here, again, looks great. I always try to look for chains to see it. They do have a texture on the outside of the boots that make it look like... Actually, no, look at that tread. Oh, man. See, he's ticking all the boxes. He's got great chains. He's got really good clothes for wash. He's got cool weapons. He's got tread on the bottom of his boots. I like him a lot. He came out really good. Come on. Come on. There we go. Next, the Beast. The Beast. Notice they say just the Beast, not, KGB Beast or anything like that. KG Beast, I actually always doubt myself on which one it was. Like, is it the B Beast or... Either way, it's just the Beast. And I don't know why the change was there, and I don't know if that's reflected in the comics or not. I imagine it is. I think they've stayed pretty true to the comics when it comes to taking these miniatures straight out of character or comic book panels, which I thought was really good. I've yet to see another superhero specific or a comic book based miniature game really do it to this level where they can point right to the issue and panel that they took this mold straight from. But then to make it 3D is actually, it takes more effort than I imagine people would assume. A little bit of assembly here, but it's just a little bit of touch up there. Otherwise, the belt looks good. The mask looks like you would expect. Those eye sockets are super deep, which is nice. Blade may be a little bent. It's not ABS. Love the gun. I've always loved how it seems upside down. I thought that was kind of cool. Great texture on the pants, on the boots. Yeah, again, he looks cool. And I love how he's looking kind of sideways. I always appreciate a miniature that it looks like it'd pretty much be like that instead of this. Just makes him a little bit more visually interesting, I feel. Okay, so now we're going to... Did I pop that in right? There we are. Put him back in. And I want to bother closing these for a while. Sinn Feng is, again, another deep dive. I didn't recognize this guy at all. Apparently he's in a few comics, though, at least. And now he's even has a miniature. Again, just really impressed with the deep dives here. And they still could go more, if they really wanted to, they can do those brother-sister superheroes that Batman tries to, they're kind of like Superman. Yeah, I don't know if you recall that one or not, but then they end up like wanting to live forever or some weird junk. It's been a while since I read that one, but we never had those guys. They'd be a little powerful though. Okay, so again, you know, base. I've commented on the base enough here where it comes to the amount of texture here. This is ABS and it is nice and straight. It looks great. This kind of blade in ABS reminds me of Oko Chronicles actually. Great suit. This would be cool to paint just because I think he'd paint up quick, and I think he's a cool style with the kind of tiny legs and then big body like that. It's kind of how he was drawn. His face is great. He has this kind of frown, smug look, and his eyes sockets are well done. He's got ears. Again, just a great miniature. The hands look good. The fingers all look good. There's not really a whole lot wrong there. But I almost feel like a broken record saying that on all these. I think these are almost... In fact, yeah, I would say these are better than Season 1's, actually, even. And they might say that, oh, it's the same factory and same plastic and all that. But that doesn't mean that they didn't come out better. This is a ventriloquist. What's her name again? The Peyton Riley. So I believe they have both versions, like gosh, what I want to say, like Winston. I can't ever remember. I just always say the ventriloquist, the actual old guy. I forget his name. That was there as well. But they have a few different versions. This is the chick holding them like that, and again, I think it's super cool. It's a great design. I love the kind of the hair coverage here. I like the doll and how you can see your hand going into the doll, but he's got his gun. I mean, again, Batman can be quite silly, and I think this kind of shows the silly part of it. Inside here, I think is actually quite good. It's not too thick, so as long as you shade that in, it should look good. That back in, and we will move on to the next one, which is Mr. Freeze, a new 52 version. So now we have two Mr. Freezes. Neither of them have the dome, though I saw a lot of people add a dome to theirs, which I thought was pretty cool. I saw somebody use some super glue, and I want to say it's baking soda, and it essentially hardens the super glue really quick and kind of frosts it, and they made ice with it, which I thought was kind of cool. It looked pretty good. They had like ice fillers all on the base. So here is Mr. Freeze. Very well done. Again, almost a different style than a lot of the other miniatures that you see, but this tube right here looks good. Again, it looks like it was asking for a dome here. The head was assembled quite good. The glasses are really good. I like his kind of face. This whole like, fire kind of looking stuff going on there. I don't even know what it's supposed to be there. Of course, it's all broken there. Anyway, his gun looks very interesting, though it looks a little bent to me. But maybe it's supposed to be like that. Maybe it's just holding it way back. This right here is supposed to look like this. It's like this kind of wetsuit kind of looking rubber thing going on here. So it's supposed to look really smooth here, I believe, if I remember correctly. So I think that fits quite well as well. So he's wearing like this kind of wetsuit almost looking thing. Very cool design there. Oh my gosh. Would you look at that? Would you look at that? Huh. That's cool that they included that. I dig that a lot. So you'll have to cut it to how you need it, but it'll just fit right in there. Oh, thanks for doing that. That's cool. It's almost a bummer that there's not two for the other one. It almost looks like there was. I was like, oh man, maybe. Either way, that's super cool. I'm glad they included that. Perfect. Man, mad props for that. Then that'll be fun. I didn't know they did that. Oh. Yes, as you can see, we cut it. Fit that in there. There we are. Next up, we have Lincoln March. He has a very cool owl man, right? He's got a very cool pose on him. So I really like these dynamic poses. Come on, get off me. All right. here he is. As you can see, he's like shooting off, but then like coming this way. And I really like the kind of splash off of the base. I think that's a very cool idea. And I like that it's not straight up either. It's like he, you know, shot off and then corrected a little bit, or like the wind's kind of like he popped off here and the wind's blowing it or something like that. Either way, it's very cool. And of course, he has a very cool owl-like suit with the, you know, the whole mask and everything. And just super cool, I think. The bottom of his boots are not textured, though, you know, again, maybe they're not supposed to. A little smoothness right here. But then everywhere else it looks good. You can kind of hear it have that texture that you would expect. Yeah, this is good. His hands are the same size. Sometimes you gotta check. You never know. All right. Moving right along. Cluemaster. Cluemaster, the dad. Right? Isn't that the whole thing? All right, come on. Cluemaster. He was on one of the CW shows. Wasn't he on Arrow? Am I going crazy? Was that Mark Hamill? Did Mark Hamill play Cluemaster on Arrow? I don't know. Or was it The Flash? Who knows? Yeah, super cool. I love the mask. He's definitely ready for COVID-19, so good for him there. The hair looks really good. These are like his staple, and those look good. The boots are super nice. I actually like the boots. They're very, like almost like secondhand military. He's got the gloves, the vest. I think this whole mini looks good. The gun is actually quite well done, all things considered. Yeah, no, he's cool. I like him. All right, and there. We got another hero, Red Hood, New 52. This is the version everybody was wanting. When we got Red Hood in Season 1, we got him with a gigantic minigun, or Gatling gun. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's unrealistic. And then they like showed the comic panel it's from, and it's exactly like the comic panel. It's completely ridiculous and long, which I kind of dig. But everybody wanted the akimbo double pistol version, and so now we got him, and he's super cool. I'm glad we got him, because he is awesome. That is going to be a cool mini once painted, especially with that mask. Great armor detail. Love the jacket. I like that that's included. Again, you got both guns here. They're very, very basic looking guns. This side has no texture, which makes me kind of sad. I think on the inside of both. On the outside, there's a teeny tiny bit of texture. It's unfortunate that they have like this really great crisp detail here, and then this is their gun. You pretty much just paint that silver and put some Nolo on it, pray a lot that it has enough detail to even catch it. Again, ABS on here because he's just attached right there, but that makes him super firm on there. It doesn't really do a lot of giveaway or anything like that. Great pose. I love that these are not symmetrical, so his hand over here is out more, and over here, you know, like he's actually running. And he has a number for whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't know. Some do, some don't. Probably makes sense somewhere. Come on, go into your home. All right. Next up, we have I can never say his name. Amaglada, whatever. Sounds like an organ. All right, come on. This one's not wanting to open. Oh, let's go. There we are. Ugh. All right, it's because I couldn't say his name. All right, after this, we only have 4, 5, 6 more, so we are almost done. Almost done. Oh, it's been a while. Again, these bigger miniatures are always really good. Of course, right? I mean, that's a little cheating, but either way, these are really good. The assembly on here is exquisite. That is like perfect assembly. I'm really impressed with that. They did a great job on that assembly. Like, that's seriously good. A tiny, tiny bit of gap there. Almost unavoidable. Otherwise, and again, it looks great. Great texture. His face looks awesome. You know, these like weird, like little pop marks are good. His muscles look great. His hands, his palms, his like torn, nasty shirt looks good. He's definitely turning into the Hulk there, and I think it looks great. All right, on the home stretch here. Let's get the last few. All right, next up we have White Rabbit. This was another one I feel that they advertised early. And I feel like they were shown early, but maybe not. You get 2 of them. And again, I don't even remember what comic she's from. Beats me. But it does look like a dynamic pose, which a lot of them are, and I like that. So she's like running. Again, you get that ABS, which is great. Fairly good assembly here. Need a little bit of touch up, but otherwise okay. And then this leg looks like it should be connected. You see the little slot where it should be in, but it's not, which is kind of interesting. Hopefully you can bend that in. Is the other one like that? No, so the other one's even more off. That's interesting. So if you notice here, both of them have their legs in different positions. The second leg here. And the slot that this is supposed to hook into is way down there. So I'm going to have to get it hot and kind of bend her leg by the look of it. Additionally, there's a pour spout right here on both of them, which is kind of unfortunate. The hair looks great. The ears look great. The hands look great. Everything, the face is good. And even the sculpt is good. It's just this pose here. It's like this leg doesn't want to stick in there, and they didn't even try to glue it in. So I'll have to do some hot water treatment to put that in there and glue it in. But otherwise, okay. Now this is interesting. This is 12 there and 27 there. But I don't know what's what anymore. These numbers are weird. All right. Moving on, we have the ventriloquist Arnold Wesker. Wesker is what I was thinking of. What did I say before? Wilson? Did I say Wilson? That's still like Wesker. This is the one I know the most of. The kind of the older, quiet guy. That's really smart. So we got 2 versions of ventriloquist here, because really it's all about the puppet, as we all know. Alright, so here he is. Let's grab my blade. I like how even the old boring guy, which he's bald with his hair back, and it's just fantastic. He still has his hand out there in kind of a dynamic pose. He's like putting his puppet forward, which I think is quite fitting. And I like how he's holding him a little different. I think his arm out here looks good. Love the shape of his face. It got that down like perfect. And then, of course, the hat as well. And it's not super fat or anything, too. These glasses, by the way, the sculpt on there are fantastic. It's really, really good. I love his blank expression. That's very typical of him. I really like how he came out. 4 more. 2 bad guys, 2 heroes. All right, I feel like there's more here, more bad guys. Could just be me. Next, we have Nobody. There's a joke there somewhere. All right. Open her up. Come on. There we are. And here we go. Yeah, these trays, by the way, like they ended up pretty good. They were not quite flexible and nice. So he's got his suit on. And all this detail is really good. It's very faint here. Not the, faint as in it's nice and crisp. It's just super skinny, right? Super detailed. He's got the little things on his palms, which are sculpted, and his fingers sculpted. This is the best pair of hands I've seen in quite a while in these. Both of them are actually quite good. They're almost copies of one another. And again, you have all the cybernetic pieces and wires and stuff everywhere. He looks just like he should, though again, very small details there. Okay. Next, we have the Architect, last bad guy here. We never got like the Anarchist or anything, did we? Let's see, there's still so many you could have. So many characters. I don't know how they pick who they pick. Here's the Architect, and again, I love his helmet. I think his helmet's super cool. His whole suit's kind of cool, right? It's just, it's quite unique in shape, and these are super smooth. It kind of reminds me almost like a Bioshock kind of thing a little bit. These wires turned out really good. I'm surprised those turned out the way they did. And they're nice and skinny and firm and not broken or anything like that, which is quite nice. Yeah, I like him. He looks cool. It's like a little bit of mold line on top of his helmet, but otherwise okay. All right, next up we have Hawkfire, which I think you know who I saved for last then. And it wasn't actually on purpose, but once I did see him, I totally did on purpose. But first, Hawkfire. All right, there we go. Here she is. And again, very dynamic pose, all ABS here. You can see how shiny it is. Fairly good assembly, could be a little bit better. But otherwise, the face actually looks pretty good. A very skinny neck. I don't know if she's actually that skinny or not, neck-wise. The jetpack's pretty cool. I dig that. And just the whole overall pose with her fingers out the way they are is kind of unique, and her head looking up like that. And then just how she's launching, how she sits on her base is quite unique, especially considering, again, she's off-center, and I love when they are off-center. So that's good. I like that. Which means we are on, oh, come on, get on there. There we go. Our final miniature. We're on the final one. We made it through Batman Beyond. When they announced Batman Beyond, I was pretty excited. I was never actually a huge fan of Batman Beyond. I watched it growing up, so I liked it, just like I liked the animated series in general. And I thought it was pretty cool, and I didn't mind the new guy or anything like that. What I was surprised is that all they added was him, right? They didn't add, any of the other characters from it. And I almost felt like they were going to do a big box expansion of it. They totally could have. And maybe that's season 3, right? There's always room for more. Oh, come on. This is ridiculous. I hate these boxes so much, guys. There we are. Here he is. Oh, he's taped too. Man, we're going to have to really work for it, aren't we? Come on, it's the last one. Let's just get this over with. Come on. These people got things to do. All right, almost. Ah, there we are. Okay. Here he is. Again, I love his style. First of all, the fact that they're red is super cool, but just his style of wings are so different. Again, he's kind of just pushing off here. He's all the way at the back of the base and still not centered on top of that, right? I mean, he's kind of at an angle there. Obviously, this is ABS up to here, and then it's PVC. I think this ended up quite good. His hands match. His face looks good. His suit looks good. Belt looks good. Assembly looks fairly good on the torso part. And again, it's just a dynamic piece, especially painted up. I think this bright red will look really cool. All right, guys, that's it. That's all the miniatures. That was enough. I mean, there's a ton here. It was ridiculous. Let's put some of these on the turntable. I'm not going to put them all on the turntable. I will put some on the turntable, and I'll pick some interesting ones that we can talk about. So I'll see you there. All right, guys, and here's the final shot of the miniatures. I got 3 different shots here to show you just a lot of the different minis. These are all from the boxes here, and as you can see, they are actually quite good for a board game. Very impressed. When I unboxed in Limbo Eternal War and saw the magnificent sculpts that are in that game, I was worried it'd ruin all other games, and it does ruin a whole bunch, but Batman holds its own. I think partly it's because it's, has the, star RIP that is Batman behind it. That obviously helps. But in general, these are actually quite interesting sculpts, whether it's the flames and how they're going off of El Diablo there, or the kind of the strut that she has, or, you know, the jetpack or the flowing cape, or the like mid kind of almost, it's like after a punch for night there. It just very well done and really captures, I think, the comic book style, especially if you paint it in the comic book style like I do. I think it really matches the source material quite well, and it's just really interesting. I love the lunging poses. I think that's cool. The detail levels all there and what I would expect. There's a few minor things. There always is, whether it's mold lines, whether it's, you know, an assembly job or a little bit of soft detail somewhere. I unboxed a lot of minis, and so I expect, you know, there to be a small percentage that I'm not, you know, an adoration of, and I think that's okay. But otherwise, I really like these. These are really cool. And I mean, even the bad guys, like that plant thing is just fun. It's so over the top and ridiculous with how big it is. Again, matches the source material great. I didn't put the cap on his head yet, because I didn't want to spend the time to do it, and I don't want to cut it until I'm ready to glue it down, which means I have to paint him first, which means that he might never have it. I don't know. I got both ventriloquists there so you can kind of see him side by side. They actually have a very similar stance, I noticed now, with the arm kind of out like that. I don't know how common that is, but, you know, it's whatever. And then, you know, just kind of showing you the different size people and all that. But again, look how crisp details those are, whether it's their hands, whether it's the creases in their clothes, or the fact that they all have ears or facial features. These are really well done, and a lot of care was put into these, so I was quite happy with all these. It's kind of hard actually to nitpick, and that's really what it is, I think, is nitpicking. There are some, you know, obviously, you know, like the tiger's tail was one of them, right? Or the assembly on the bunny chick here, her leg is not quite right. I'm gonna have to kind of fix that after the fact. But the fact that I have to fix one mini, or I guess two, because there's two of them, is not half bad at all with how many I got. That's actually quite good. So in general, again, quite happy with these. And finally, of course, we got Batman. Freaking Batman. The Rebirth one is so cool. Very cool design there. If you recall, there's that little bit where he's not quite assembled on his left hand. So I'll fix that, but that's all right. Otherwise, Batman Beyond's looking cool. I like how skinny he is compared to the regular Batman. I think that's fitting and matches the art style perfectly. And I think really you can tell that this came directly from the comic book source material, that all of these, you can go and find the exact suit that each of these are wearing, find the exact colors, the exact story that they came from. When you're playing the game, it all matches too. It's a love letter to Batman comics, and something that I'm really happy to see. My understanding, by the way, is that Monolith has the IP for pretty much anything WB when it comes to like the Batman stuff. So they could go Justice League, they could do the movies, they could do any kind of capacity around that. Now, they chose to limit to Batman for a power level thing, and the comics for the inspiration. I think that's a smart decision, but I mean, the sky's the limit. So I will be playing this skirmish mode, and we'll be looking into that, and I'll let you guys know my thoughts on that, of course. I'm quite excited for it, though, because I do love skirmish games. And if it's good, I'm certainly looking forward to Season 3. Even if not, even if you just want to paint some Batman minis, nothing beats the bang for your buck here. When it comes to that, it just doesn't. Your other alternative really is, for at least for this style, right? For this breadth, is Knight's models, and those are very expensive. Those are nice, but certainly not in this price range. Alright guys, that's all I had for today. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing. I know it's long, I get it, it's not for everybody, but I don't know, it's where my passion leads me, it's what I like to do. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed unboxing it and sharing it with all of you guys. Thanks so much for watching. As always, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks as always to my patrons. Without them, the quality and quantity that I am making these videos at would not happen, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's all because of them, so thank you to them. And without further ado, I will talk to you very soon.